This is my 1986 Jeep Grand Wagoneer that I have had for 3 years now, and what better way to celebrate that little milestone with a video like this. Today I'll be going over 5 things I absolutely love about my 1986 Jeep Grand Wagoneer, but before we dive straight into it, I'd like to invite you to consider subscribing today. My name is Garrett, welcome to the channel. This is my 1986 Jeep Grand Wagoneer project. I have so much to do on this thing. So if you love the old Wagoneers as much as I do, consider subscribing for Wagoneer Wednesdays at 7 p.m. where I dive deep into the Jeep. There's always something to do. So hopefully I'll see you back here every Wednesday at 7 p.m. for Wagoneer Wednesdays on Slay's Garage. Thanks so much for clicking on this video, and let's get straight into the 5 things I love about this thing. The first thing that I love about my 1986 Jeep Grand Wagoneer is the styling. I mean, have you ever seen anything more beautiful like this? There's so much character, so much design, so much creativity thrown into these things. I mean, you have this long grille that stretches the width of the vehicle. You got the square headlights, all of the details in the grille. You got the square windows, and if you walk down the side of the vehicle, you got the square mirrors, the little square door handle push buttons right here. I mean, there's so much creativity, so much taste. You got very distinct body lines that start on the hood and on the fenders, and they stretch the length of the vehicle. So much creativity went into these. I mean, this vehicle was designed at a time in its life where cars were cars. They were made with passion and love and sweat, and real materials were thrown into these things. Metal, real leather, stuff like that. I mean, today's cars, they're plastic, they're cheap, they're gross, they're nasty. Nothing is as beautiful as a classic like this, and especially as a 1986 Jeep Grand Wagoneer. I mean, it's so beautiful. When you see one coming down the road at you, personally, I know exactly what it is, and before I owned one, and I still do this, whenever I see a full-size Jeep out on the road, I scream like a little girl. It's hilarious.
No way! No way! Hey! Oh my! No way! Holy sh!
It's not that serious. Trust me, I know that. But anyway,
I got it on video!
These things are so bold, they're in your face, you can't ignore them. I mean, they're beautiful, just look at it. I absolutely love this thing, and I've had it for 3 years now, and I am so glad that I took a leap of faith and bought this thing when I was just 22 years old. And if you want to hear the full story about it, here's the video card right here. You can tap right here, or the link will be down in the description box below. So before I get into number 2, let's switch up the locations and we'll go from there. So the second thing that I love about this old Jeep is the way it drives. It feels like such a big tank. When you're going down the road in this thing and you're doing 30 or 35, it feels like you are king of the road. I'm not gonna do a very good job describing this, but I'm gonna try my best. Like when you're going 35 miles an hour, it feels like you're going 50. It's such a time capsule. This thing, it's a spaceship too. It's a tank, it's a spaceship, and it's a time capsule. You've got to ride in one to kind of know what it's like. Super tight turning radius. Amazes me every time. There's nothing like it. I mean, it's loud, it's noisy. You feel a lot of bumps on rough terrain, but when the roads are a little bit smoother, like on the highway, you'll just be floating on a cloud. It's quite the experience. But when you're driving this thing, it's always such a fun time, and there's so much leg room in this thing. You can fit 3 people in the back. It's got 2 seats up front. I mean, you could stuff a third person in the center if you absolutely had to, but it's got no seat belt. and then it's got cargo space. It's got a lot of cargo space. This is the perfect road trip vehicle. I mean, nothing screams Americana like a classic Grand Wagoneer. Even the older Grand Wagoneers, or just the Wagoneers, I should say, those things are beautiful as well. I'd like to have one of those. I'd like to have a CJ and a Gladiator, and a Jeep J10 Honcho would be cool too. I absolutely love this thing, and that's number 2. And not to mention, for as big as this thing is, it's actually not as big as you think. Compared to a 2022 Jeep Grand Cherokee, it's about the same size. And also, it's very easy to drive too. This thing has an extremely tight turning radius, and the steering wheel is nice and loose and easy. But maybe that's because this thing needs a crap ton of work. So it's a fun time every single drive, and it's easy to drive. Which, that leads me to my third thing that I love about this Jeep is the AMC 360 V8 engine. It's a 5.9 liter, and it is the old reliable engine for these old Jeeps. These things keep going and going. Mine has 110,000 miles on it right now, which isn't a ton, but I don't think it needs a rebuild. I did a couple tests on it earlier this year. You can check out that video right here. I did a compression test and I got some pretty good readings. And this is the original engine. It does have a rebuilt transmission. It does have 4-wheel drive, and it did work 3 years ago when I tested it out on the test drive. So that's always great news, but it probably does need quite a bit of work like everything else does on this Jeep. And I love the exhaust note when this truck is idling, when you're accelerating. There's nothing quite like this AMC 360 V8 in my opinion. I absolutely love it. The fourth thing that I love about this old Jeep are all the electronics and the technology that this thing has. So when you open up the door to the Jeep, the first thing that catches my eye in terms of the electronics is right here, the HVAC system. For 1986, you got AC. Look at that, the blue. You got AC, and you have heat, and you got defrost. I mean, there's so much technology. Let's talk about the fact that you got a radio too. This does not work, unfortunately, but that's something that we can change down the line. In terms of other technology, you have power mirrors. Here's the little mirror switch for it right here. You have power windows, and you also have power seats. Do any of these work? That's really funny. I will tell you, the windows do work, but everything else does not work. The defrost, that actually works. I took a little road trip at the beginning of the summer, and it was raining, and I had to put the defrost on, and I was very surprised that it worked. It was so awesome. And in terms of other technology, you do have the rear window that rolls down, and it does also get some heat back there. So if there's snow, you can melt that snow so you can see behind you. So that's pretty awesome. But this Jeep has a ton of technology for its time. It really, truly was ahead of its time. I wasn't alive for that time, but I'm sure some of you other guys and gals that are watching this video can confirm that these Jeeps were pretty luxurious back in their day. This was the Escalade of its time, and there was just so much tech to offer. I mean, it's unbelievable, really. And the speakers that are in this thing, speaking of technology, are by Jensen, which is pretty cool. Pretty cool. I like the detail that they put into that right there. Seats are really comfortable too. There's just so much to talk about with this Jeep. 5 things isn't gonna cut it. There might be a part 2 to this video, so stay tuned. The 5th thing that I love about this old Jeep is the tailgate right here. Ooh, it's a little rough, but it does work. So the cool thing about this tailgate is when you have it up, the rear glass will slide down if It's a big if it wants to. Sometimes it doesn't always want to roll down because these window motors are a little funky. And I mean, this is a 35 plus year old truck, so you got to give it a little bit of grace here. But sometimes when it wants to, the glass will roll down into the tailgate. And most people will switch to a hand crank like the older Wagoneers had from the 60s and 70s. When I was talking about the technology earlier, I should have added this part in right here. So I'm adding it in right now. But I love the tailgate, and I love that it folds down like a truck. So if you're camping or at a party or something, whatever you may be doing, you can pop the tailgate, the pop squat, and enjoy whatever you're looking at. Or if you're at a car show, I should have said that from the start. But absolutely love this thing. When I was talking about the cargo room earlier, there's lots of cargo room. You can sit in here if you wanted to. It's a little bit dirty. So yeah, I mean, this thing is awesome. I love the old Wagoneers. And for number 6, I'll throw in a little bonus here. I absolutely love the support group that you get when you have one of these full-size Jeeps. Everyone that has one of these is so nice and very helpful and very considerate and always willing to lend a hand. I've met quite a few full-size Jeep owners, and just the community and the support group that you get, it's awesome. It's like family. It's truly something special. It's truly something special. It's awesome. All right, this is gonna conclude my 5 things I love about my Jeep Grand Wagoneer. I hope you loved the video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. If you wanna see anything specific on this Jeep, please comment it down below, and make sure you subscribe for Wagoneer Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Always something new to do on this Jeep. I mean, this thing is a total nightmare, if I'm being honest with you, and there's so much that needs to be done. I started a patch panel on the other side that you saw earlier in the video, starting one on this side. 2 years ago, I primed these doors, I primed the hood. I'm redoing that. I'm stripping the whole Jeep, and I would like to paint it next year, but next year at the latest. But for now, make sure you subscribe and hit the post notification bell. And just thank you so much for taking time out of your day to watch this video, and hopefully I'll see you every Wednesday for Wagoneer Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Take care, have a great day. Yes. Hear that door slam? That is real, true Americana truck language right there. That is what I am talking about, baby.